Hello, my name's John, this is Pat, and this is the Rose. Okay, we're gonna try to take you through the boat to let you get a good idea of what we have here in Fiji, so that you can make a decision to come out here and buy her and have as much fun on this boat as we have. We'll start here on the stern. We had this arch built down in Mexico, actually by a renowned sculptor who built a large stainless piece in Chicago, Illinois, for the city of Chicago. We've got solar panels up top, the arch with a light davits, as you can see. We also have here attached is the framing for the bimini, which we've put back here because we actually like to see the sky more than the bimini. We have a barbecue, outside propane tank. This is our stern anchor. We have an air compressor down here
for scuba diving.
In that lazarette I carry my a spare anchor rod and also the anchor rod for the stern anchor. Over here is another lazarette where we keep our dock lines, that kind of thing. The same gentleman that did the arch, we had him construct and design these scuba tank holders. You can actually lift this bar up and undo this shackle and it'll tilt out, and when you're in the water you can actually take them in and out of the rack without having to bring them on board up the swim ladder.
That's a great idea.
Solar panels also on each quarter. They fold down so that you can get into nice tight spots. And right on midship here we have a Winslow life raft. It's their offshore model for 6 with an insulated floor for cold water and quite a few bells and whistles in that. Looking forward, you can see you've got good visibility here. You've got your primary winches for your jib sheets, and you have access to your aft cabin through this hatch here. The binnacle, instrument panel, depth sounder, speed log, anemometer, and then a second fathometer on the starboard side, the Furuno fish finder. We carry a VHF radio here in the cockpit. On the port side, please. And we have a Simrad autopilot that does a great job on the boat. Otto is the #1 crew member on this boat as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
We also have a hydraulic boom bang right behind Pat's feet. There we go. It's a Navtec, and the boom bang was just totally rebuilt down in Australia in August of 18, last summer. And you can see we also, the binnacle here with the compass, and we also have a table that comes out that's really quite handy. Folds out, and voila, you've got a table. Stow's pretty easy. And there you have it. Engine controls down here for the YANMAR. The YANMAR is a 4JH3 DTE, 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel. Burns about 1.5 gallons an hour. She makes, well, top speed and smooth water, she'll do a little over 7 knots. Easily at 2,400 RPM. She'll run at smooth water a good 6.5 knots. The steering was also redone in New Zealand, along with quite a few other things. New cables were put in. When I originally bought the boat, where the shivs are just down below here, the binnacle, we took that plate out that holds the shivs and remanufactured it a couple mils thicker so that it'd be beefier and wouldn't fail under heavy seas. When we were in the yard, we also went ahead and took the rudder off the boat. We redid the whole stern packing system, and we also sectioned the rudder to check all the stainless to make sure everything was good. And The 2.5-inch stainless steel shank turned out to be perfect. We ended up refoaming it, reglassing it, putting in, like I said, a little bit different packing system so that it was easier to handle and grease and keep the water out. We also had a new pintle manufactured and put in, basically because it was totally apart and I didn't really want to have to go back and do it again. So we did the whole thing the first time instead of coming back to it later. The stainless steel here that you see is for the Bimini.
Dodger.
Both the Bimini,
The Dodger.
not the Bimini, but the Dodger. The Dodger and the sails are all at the sail loft for cyclone season. The Dodger windows were all replaced with new vinyl in New Zealand in August, September of last summer. Every year we've owned the boat, we've also had all the sails brought back to a loft and gone through and maintained. And the sails were on the boat when I got it. We've had them serviced every year, and we baby our sails. And yes, answer to your question is they are an older set of sails, but they are not blown out. They're not bags, but they are used sails. And you should be able to get it. I'm hoping to get at least another couple of years on it. And we have, as I said, the aft hatch going in. We have a little hatch over the galley, the main Salon hatch, and the V-berth hatch. We call them butt pulpits because that's where you put your butt when you're trying to do your reefing job. The reefing on the boat is just simple jiffy reefing, okay? Got a self-tailing locking winch. You've got 3 sets of reefs on the mainsail. The third reef is a nice solid reef. She'll handle, well, we've had her up into the 50s, and she's done a great job, and she's easy to reef. Got 2 jib halyards on the sides, main halyard, staysail halyard, and jib halyard, roller furling on the staysail and the jib. Everything's working nicely. The windlass up forward was re-chromed. Well, it was rebuilt about a little over a year ago, and it was re-chromed last summer. As you can see, she looks pretty good, and she works really well.
Oh, wow.
She was a total rebuild, and everything is working pretty well. We have 2 anchors. I've got a CQR and a Bruce. Bruce is off the boat. We find that storing the anchor and the chain off the boat really cuts down on the rusting with the galvanization. And all the chain was regalvanized once again, August of last year, along with both anchors. We have approximately 400 feet of chain, 3/8-inch BB chain. So there she is. There's the decks. They're pretty open. They're easy to maneuver. We don't keep them cluttered. Our dinghy actually is Avon 310, 10 foot. And she gets packed up into a valise and strapped to the back rail. I don't really believe in keeping a dinghy on deck on sea passages.
Yeah.
I like a deck that's clear so that the wave doesn't take it off. So this is the deck you see, and this is the deck you get to sail with. Why don't we go on down below and I'll show you. Oh, also this boat has running backs.
Yes. Oh, very good.
Okay?
Yes, yes.
They're
very
both
good.
forward right now. They'll go back just past the solar panel
Yes.
on the windward side, and the leeward side comes up. And that's about it. New spinnaker or new spreader lights and new wiring in the mast as of last summer. Also, we had pulled the mast last summer and totally went through it and repacked all the winches, touched up the paint, made sure the mast boot was sealed, and all the hatches on the deck were also taken off. All the fiberglass around them was refaired and all the hatches were totally ground down, new glass, new sealant, new gaskets, and rebedded. The only one that didn't get new glass was this hatch, which is a newer hatch. And so all the hatches were redone last summer also. Let's go on downstairs. Okay, looking forward from the companionway is your main salon. You've got the main dining table, seating all the way around, storage all the way around, storage on the sides. On the port side, you've got the settee. The settee pulls out about 8 inches or so, gives you quite a wide berth. We also have a lee cloth in this particular berth, so that on heavy seas, you've got a place to stay. Mast is stepped down onto the keel. All the wiring is routed down through here and back up into that area there. We've got storage under all the floorboards, all teak and holly. Table was revarnished in last summer, and so was the floor. If you move forward, you have another locker. We use this as our line locker. This is where I've got a bridle and a bunch of Dyneema to be able to string a drogue behind me. I also have a sea anchor. Its own rode goes with it. Has its own separate rode and its separate bridle. And so this is what we call our line locker. On the starboard side here is the forward head. You can get in here both ways.
Okay.
So when you have guests, it's really nice. They close their doors,
Yes.
and they've got their own space, and you don't have to see it. Shower is typical shower and a typical head. Holding tank forward, holding tank aft, and also over the side discharge.
Okay.
In the V berth, as you can see, is fairly roomy.
Yeah.
It's actually over 6 feet.
It's
Anchor
80
locker
inch-
is up
it's 80
forward.
inches long. Both
Six-
the beds are 80 inches long, so that's 6.5 feet.
6.5
Yes,
feet, both
wow.
beds. Anchor locker is forward. You got storage here, storage under the seats, storage in here. Underneath the V berth here is more storage and is also the WATERMAKER. It's a SPECTRA 150 that's been bored out to their next larger capacity sizing, which is 8 to 10 gallons per hour. And it was rebuilt, I think, about 3 years ago. We also have a hanging locker here. And right now it's got our stack pack for the mainsail and brand new jib sheets, and also the sheet for the asymmetric in here. We'll go on back aft and I'll show you one of the nicest part of the boats, really. On the starboard side is the nav station. We've got Furuno radar, Garmin chart plotter, high frequency radio, and VHF. Underneath we also have an electronic barometer, and we have it's a radar sensor. It actually will tell you if it picks up a radar beam in the immediate area with an alarm. We have a wet weather locker right here, and inside of the locker is one of the fuel tank gauges that has a sight glass so that you can see what your fuel is in that particular tank. Port side is the galley. We have a top loader fridge, and we have another reefer here, side loader. Double sink, cutting board, and a new 3-burner Force 10 oven that we put in New Zealand in August of last year.
This is a great galley. This galley has so much storage. It's so easy to use. It just surrounds you. It's got the double sink, cutting board cut to fit, so it slips right in there. It's got the power water, plus it's got the foot pedal for both fresh and salt water when you're underway. And this actually really works for all the dishes. We've been in super rough conditions and I've never had to put anything
Yes.
anywhere else, so it's great. It's got lots of storage underneath and then storage over here. It's got this extra side counter, but this pops up really easily for access into the little workroom.
You can go
But
ahead and
behind
show.
here, we've also got all this storage, which is really
Okay,
nice too.
yeah.
Okay, through into the workroom.
Wow.
The workroom
Amazing.
isn't huge as far as workrooms go, but most boats don't have them.
That's
You've got
right.
a grinder and a workbench and a vise.
Oh, this
And
is
a place to
incredible.
stand up. And
And a
let me
place to
just show
stand
you
up.
something magical. I'm going to pop up the outside. You stay here for a second. Show you when you're working on longer projects.
When you're working on longer projects and you need access, you have access
wow.
into the boat through the cockpit.
Poke
This
your
is
head out the top
awesome.
and get some fresh air.
Also, on this side is a door that goes into the engine
The
room.
engine room, yes, yes.
Oh yeah, and while you're there, you should peek through because the access to
Yeah.
the engine is super
This
nice,
is awesome, yeah.
super convenient.
Wow.
As far as sailboats go, this is one of the best engine
That's
rooms you're
right.
going to find.
Yeah.
You got access on both sides. This particular door here also opens up all the way and allows you this much room
Yes.
to get in. We have 2 ray cores. We have a fuel manifold so that you can pick your supply and your return tanks. The Yanmar in front of you was rebuilt from the block up last August and totally gone through. We just installed a brand new 165 Belmar, brand new auxiliary alternator, 65 amp, brand new starter. Up here is where your fresh water system is, your freshwater pump, coarse and fine water filters. It's, in my opinion, one of the best engine rooms I've come across in ever.
Yes, I agree.
Unless you
It's
get
so
into
clean.
100 feet. Oh, before we go any further, I don't know if you can film it, but this is the electrical panel also here. Also inside of this area, under the stairs, are the 2 reefers, Adler Barbers, and is the main house bank, which was put in, including the starting battery, brand new back in August also. If we come back through what we call the tunnel, on the starboard side, you'll see where the old generator used to be originally on the boat. Because of our solar capacity and our newer engine, we decided we really didn't need a generator. And so this is where I have a lot of spare parts. I have more spare parts than, well, than I should probably. Follow me on back here to the stern.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Here's the aft cabin.
This is amazing.
Aft cabin has been great.
Yes.
There's storage all the way underneath. There's storage even underneath the carpet here. Double hanging lockers here. And also our own head. Our own head has a shower, place to sit. The head itself, sink, mirror. And as we saw from the outside, you also have access out of the back hatch through here. This area here is pretty nice. It's fairly roomy. You can really come in here and you can actually take a shower without feeling like you're really cramped in here.
Yes, yes.
Our shower nozzle here also is, we made extra long because what we do is, because we're pretty avid divers, we'll open the porthole
Oh, yes.
and we'll take that outside, and so when people come back from swimming or diving, we can pass that out and we can rinse off and keep the
Great
salt
idea.
out of the boat
Yes.
and up there. So it works pretty good that way. So this is the Rose.
Wow, this is beautiful.
Just about every square inch of her has been gone over. Back in last summer, we also pulled all the chain plates out of the boat. We had them polished, inspected, and ultrasounded. All put back in, all rebedded, along with the hatches. Pulling the mast. We did a lot of work. Please see the write-up on the web. It has a lot of the receipts from the work from last summer. And she's actually been babied ever since I bought her in 2010. My wife and I both think a lot about our boats. We've been sailing all our lives, and we at least try to do all repairs the right way the first time, instead of halfway. So thanks for coming through the boat with us, and if you end up owning her, I hope you'll have as much fun as we have.
Thanks a lot, John. Thank you.